Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's broadcast. I am your host, Matt Morris. We are currently live on Rumble and on YouTube at Matt Morris TV. Folks, it is a wonderful Friday, October 10th. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going live a little bit early today. This is yet another emergency bombshell broadcast because President Trump, late last night, for any of you that were kind of paying attention here, late last night, the White House added on to President Trump's official schedule that he's going to be making an emergency Oval Office announcement to the nation at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Western, which is 20 minutes from now. So we're going live right now. I'll tell you what, every single day we're doing breaking news coverage like this. We don't really see this very often. If we can take a quick look at the official White House President Trump schedule, Friday, October 10th, 5 p.m. Eastern, the president is going to be making an announcement from inside of the Oval Office. We don't normally see this. I would imagine this is going to be something pretty monumental, pretty important. Now, of course, there are a couple things here that this might be in relation to. Really, three big things come to mind. What might we be talking about today in 19 short minutes? Well, of course, this is day number 10 of the shutdown of the federal government, the Democrat shutdown, Schumer's shutdown, maybe even Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez shutdown, if you've been paying attention. So we will probably be talking about that a little bit. I don't know, maybe. Trump, in 2 days on October 12th, this upcoming Sunday, is going to be hopping aboard Air Force One. He's going to be flying halfway across the world over to Egypt and to Israel, where he will be shaking hands, signing the dotted line, signing off officially on this Hamas-Israel peace deal, putting an end to this war, this genocide, this conflict that has been unfolding in the Levant. That's a big deal, absolutely monumental. And then the third topic that we might be talking about today, folks, keep in mind, this is an emergency presidential announcement. We don't see these very often. This might have something to do. I'm getting excited here just thinking about it. Insurrection Act of 1807. We have still seen a continued and rising level of violence taking place on the streets of Chicago, the sanctuary city, Chicago, the sanctuary city, Portland, Oregon. Journalists are being abused and beaten and arrested and harassed. Innocent people, ICE officers are being assaulted. Federal agents are being assaulted by domestic terrorists. Insurrection Act. Ladies and gentlemen, real quick, is it time, yes or no, for the Insurrection Act? Me, I think so. So personally, that's kind of my prayer right now, is that, ladies and gentlemen, we might be seeing the Insurrection Act get invoked 17 minutes from now, assuming President Trump is on time. But until then, folks, we have 17 minutes here. So there are some other things, some little tidbits of daily news that I think we should touch base on while we wait. I want to say thank you all very much for tuning in. Of course, really, I am so blessed to have such a good community. That's you guys. Everybody is very kind. Thank you for being here. Let's jump right into some of our daily news and try to make sense of what the hell is going on today before we actually really get to the big meat and bones of today's broadcast. 17 minutes from now, the Oval Office announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, the Nobel Peace Prize, very early this morning, was given out to a Venezuelan woman. Maria Corina Machado is her name, not President Trump. He did not win the Nobel Peace Prize, even though he is the peacetime president. He's ushering in peace around the world. And now, as of this Sunday, once he signs the dotted line, he will have ended 8 different wars. However, there's a little bit of a fact check here. Look at this. Nominations for the Nobel Peace Prize are actually due on January 31st. Trump was not eligible to receive it this year as his actions toward peace occurred after that date. Okay, you know what? Fair play, I guess, kind of fair. Okay, if they have a schedule, that's how they do it. But you know what that means? However, it says he is eligible to receive next year's Nobel Peace Prize. Folks, if I had to bet money right now, if I was at a Las Vegas betting table, I've got $10,000 cash, put it here or put it there. I would probably put that money on President Trump winning the Nobel Peace Prize 1 year from now. That's where I'd put my money. Now, there is something I want to share with you folks, though. Take a look at this. This is the individual, Maria Corina Machado is her name. So the reason why she has won the Nobel Peace Prize is because she has been actually combating the narco-terrorist Nicolas Maduro Venezuelan regime. She is fighting back against Maduro's regime down in Venezuela. Also, President Trump has been doing that. He's been blowing up these narco-terrorist boats. He's been putting pressure on Maduro, the narco-terrorists in Venezuela. So something very curious has happened, and I'll tell you what right now. The far-left radical progressives are absolutely melting down over what she had to say this morning. I want to read this with you folks. It's going to blow your mind. This is what she said, her acceptance of this Nobel Peace Prize. This recognition of the struggle of all Venezuelans is a boost to conclude our task to conquer freedom. We are on the threshold of victory, and today, more than ever, we count on President Trump, the people of the United States, the people of Latin America, and the democratic nations of the world as our principal allies to achieve freedom and democracy. Look at this. She said, I dedicate this prize to the suffering people of Venezuela and to President Trump for his decisive support of our cause. So, folks, President Trump didn't even win the prize. He wasn't even eligible this year, but you know what? He still won anyway. The woman that actually won the prize, the freedom fighter against the radical Maduro regime, the terrorist regime, she dedicated the prize to President Trump. And so, you know, all these globalists and far-left radical freaks, their mind is spinning in their beds, blah, 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 blah. They can't make sense of it. They're like, hold up, you're a Venezuelan Latin American woman. You're not supposed to be supporting President Trump. Well, guess what? Today, she dedicated the Nobel Peace Prize to him. She's up here. She's a freedom fighter trying to push back against the Maduro. You know what? Good for her. Okay, you know what? So technically, President Trump, he wasn't even eligible. Okay, now we know the schedule, how they do it. Maybe next year. I would bet money on next year. So that's the little spiel about the Nobel Peace Prize. Ladies and gentlemen, even when we lose, we still... Yeah, I'm sorry, it's so funny to me. Even when we lose, we still win, okay? That's a pretty good deal. I'm not too worried about that. Maybe next year we come back. Now, folks, like I said, we have about 13 minutes here until President Trump is stepping foot inside of the Oval Office. We have a live feed from outside of the White House. We're keeping tabs on this. Trump is going to be live in the Oval Office making some type of breaking bombshell news announcement. I realize I should probably get this up at the top of the screen so people know. Sorry, hold up. One-man operation here. 5 p.m. Eastern. I want everybody to know. Okay, there it's up there. So in case anybody is confused, we're going to keep tabs on this. But until then, we've got 12 minutes. And I have some more things I want to share with you folks. Once again, thank you very much for tuning in. If you are new to the show, if you could please hit the like button and the subscribe button. We are live on Rumble and on YouTube right now. The way the YouTube algorithm, the Rumble algorithm, all of this stuff works is if you like the video, if you subscribe, then it helps broadcast it out to even more people. We can spread the message even further. America First is back, and you guys are helping out. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. So let's talk about the government shutdown. We have a couple minutes. We might be talking about this inside of the Oval Office today. House Speaker Mike Johnson posted a little update about an hour ago. Democrats have now voted 8 times. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. To block pay for our troops and for our federal workers. Chuck Schumer and Senate Democrats think every day of this shutdown, quote, gets better for them. We've all seen them say that. Chuck Schumer said every day the shutdown goes on, it gets even better for us. These people are sick. And by the way, it's one thing. Obviously, that's sick and twisted, but beyond that, he's wrong. Every single metric we have, we've seen national polls, all the data says people, Americans, both Democrats and Republicans, are blaming this shutdown, rightfully so, on Chuck Schumer and the Democrats. Chuck Schumer and the Democrats right now, they are bleeding support. They are losing support amongst the American people. I want to take a look at some super chats here. By the way, we had Ruby Hoove. Thank you very much. Nice kitten. Nice kitty cat there is your profile picture. Gifted 5 memberships. Thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. Every time somebody gets a membership, that means they don't have to watch advertisements. That's a big deal. And then, of course, Gigi needs vow renewal song. Okay, I don't even know, but thank you very much. Gigi, thank you. Another 5 gifted memberships. Thank you. Sincerely. Everybody, happy Friday. It's the end of the week, and today we're going to have some breaking news bombshell announcement. I'm here for it. Thank you guys for being here for it with me. I appreciate that. And then we have a super chat from Anthony. That Peace Prize is worthy of even God's recognition. I just can't believe that she dedicated it to President Trump, because Trump has been helping out against the Venezuelan Maduro regime. She dedicated it to him. I couldn't, and all of us American people too, she said. I couldn't believe it. Folks, 8 times, thank you, by the way, thank you, folks. 8 times the Democrats have voted to keep the government shut down, to shut it down and keep it shut down. 3 times in September, 5 times now in October. All the Republicans are voting for it. Actually, you know what? Listen, I don't want to start any drama here. There is one Republican in the Senate who is not voting to reopen the government. I don't want any drama. We don't need to have any beef. His name is Rand Paul. There are 53 Republican senators. 52 of them are voting time and time again to reopen it. Rand Paul is the one Republican who is voting alongside the Democrats to keep the government shut down. What this means is that rather than only needing 7 Democrats in total to reopen this, now we need 8. We need 8 Democrats in total, plus 1 minus 1 type of dynamic. So there is just to add a little bit of nuance there. He is, I mean, I think you can say maybe he's even libertarian to a fault. You know, I guess some people are calling him a rhino. I think when I think of a rhino, I understand why you're calling him a rhino, Republican in name only. Maybe he's in a different category. Do you know what I mean? He's not like a rhino neocon. He's a libertarian diehard to a fault sometimes. Sometimes it's a good thing. Maybe other times it's a bad thing. I'm not sure if he's a rhino in the same way that other people are rhinos, but no, I understand why you say that. Maybe it's a complex situation. So anyway, that's the dynamic here. 8 times they have voted to keep this thing down now, but we have some breaking news. Everybody, we've been talking about Russ Vought. He posted today. Everybody is happy about this. The reduction in force layoffs have begun. President Trump, he was playing softball. He said, listen, Russ Vought, we're going to give the Democrats some time before we really start industrially laying people off. Well, they've waited 10 days now. Day number 10. Russ Vought here, he's getting out the cleaver, the meat cleaver, maybe the scalpel. We can call it a scalpel. He's making some precision cuts. And now the layoffs are really happening. And the Democrats this morning are losing their mind. We're going to touch base on that. But Donald Trump earlier today on the White House lawn, he chimed in. He gave his thought. Take a look at what he said a couple hours ago.
To begin firing federal employees during this government shutdown.
That's taking place right now. It's all because of the Democrats. The Democrats are causing the loss of a lot of jobs with their, it's a shutdown. It's their shutdown, not our shutdown. It's their shutdown.
Well, and we know that's true. Of course, we know that's true. This is their shutdown. It's not the Republican shutdown. The Republicans have voted time and time again, open or back up. And so now it's day number 10. He tried to play softball with these people, with Chuck Schumer. Federal layoffs have officially hit the Department of Interior, the Treasury, the Commerce Department, per Politico. Federal layoffs are also hitting now the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, the Energy Department, the HHS, the HUD. And so President Trump, he's just being honest. He's saying, yeah, listen, we are firing Democrats. We are firing radical progressives within the federal government. Doesn't even matter what agency or department you are a part of. We know, you can kind of tell if you're a radical progressive here, you're getting laid off. We're taking the opportunity. Listen, the Democrats, it's kind of like, you know, as they say, hey, live by the sword, die by the sword. It's one of those moments. F around, find out. Live by the sword, die by the sword. The Democrats want to shut down the federal government. Okay, well, layoffs are happening, and guess who's getting laid off? Democrats, the radical progressives in the federal government that have been for 9 months now. Let's be honest. They have been doing everything, abusing their positions in the government to kneecap, undermine, and to subvert President Trump's America First agenda. And he said, all right, time to take out the trash. Get out of here. Get out of here. And I think, are you happy about that? I'm happy about that. We have a Fox News report as it relates to that.
It's Russ Vought, the OMB head, posted this a few minutes ago. It's a very straight and to the point tweet on X. He said, and if you guys could put it up, the rifts have begun. That means a reduction in force. This is what Russ Vought came to the Oval Office to talk to President Trump about last week when the shutdown began. They were trying to figure out which agencies they could either temporarily or permanently suspend or terminate. And a big part of that is firing federal workers.
These layoffs, President Trump has said, are going to be permanent, not temporary, permanent.
An OMB source is telling us right now that not only have the rifts begun, but that they are substantial, which means that during a shutdown on a Friday afternoon, whatever the White House considers to be a substantial number of people are receiving notices either from their HR supervisors or via email that their services are no longer needed by the federal government.
And now a lot of these individuals in the federal government, President Trump has been trying to get rid of them for months. He's tried to lay people off time and time again. Radically progressive judges in the federal judiciary have said, actually, you can't lay them off. It goes to the Supreme Court. And so it's been a battle with the federal judiciary to lay people off. Who can he lay off for how long? And so now, listen, government shutdown. He's got the green light. Chuck Schumer's plan here is totally backfiring. Before we move on, folks, while we have this view on the White House lawn, President Trump is coming out in the Oval Office for this bombshell announcement. At some point in the next 4 or 5 minutes, I do want to take a look at some super chats here before we really move on, because I feel like these are probably going to be pertinent. I take a look at these. There's a big one here. It's from Gigi. Says, sorry, my name is Gigi from Gigi. Thank you very much. Gigi. Needs vow renewal songs is for anyone who feels okay to throw a song out there. Married finally to my soulmate. Congratulations. And we will be renewing our vows. Well, everybody say congratulations. That's great news. I found him after I had given up on love. He redefined what love truly is. Well, congratulations to you and your husband. That's excellent news. Hey, make those vows. Do them again. Lock them down. Thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. Excellent name. That's great news. Congratulations. What a great Friday. Thank you very much. I appreciate you being here. And also shout out to you and your husband. We have 5 gifted community memberships here from Jake Kent. Thank you very much, Mr. Kent. I appreciate that. That's 5 more people that have to sit by and watch advertisements on YouTube. They're out of control. Thank you very much. Robert Yamamoto. I'm a fellow Japanese person. You guys know I was born in Japan a long time ago. Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Robert. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, I'm looking over here in Rumble Chat. We also have some support while we're waiting for President Trump to come on out here. Over in Rumble Chat, this is from Wounds R Us. He says, RIFs are not layout, they are firings. That's right, they're reduction in force. I saw people asking, RIF, what is that? Reduction in force, they are being fired. Goodbye. That's what that means. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Wounds R Us. And also we had from U.S. Army veteran over here in Rumble. We also have 1 gifted Rumble membership. Thank you. Everybody, thank you. What a great Friday. Thank you, folks, for being here. I appreciate that. Folks, President Trump ought to be coming on out here any minute now, in the next couple minutes. And if he's a little bit behind schedule, we actually have a lot that we can talk about. But I do see another super chat from Rupert Pasillas. He says, hi, Matt. Man, I was cracking up the other night when someone told you that you talk too much and your reaction, keep up the good work. You know, I try not to be too combative with people in the live chat. I do try to be very nice, but sometimes it's like, oh my God, you are being so rude. I gotta, come on, really? So sometimes I do get a little bit bombastic with the chat, but I do try to be nice. I try to be nice. Most of you guys are nice. I want to say Barb Loves Alaska as a super chat says, how do I stop the ads that break in and ruin watching your great streams? So this is just how YouTube does it. There are a couple ways you could become a member of the community that will get rid of the ads. You could get YouTube Premium or Rumble Premium, gets rid of advertisements. There are various ad blocker extensions for your web browser that you could do, but really probably YouTube Premium or membership to this channel is the best way to do it. Thank you very much. Ads, I know ads are out of control. I know it's nuts, folks. Trump is coming on out here any second now, but before he comes on out and gives us the bombshell announcement of the day, let's touch base and see what they're saying over at MSNBC or maybe even MSDNC. What do they have to say about the current state of the federal layoffs? Let's see.
Track down exactly which agencies here on this Friday afternoon are now sending these notices of reduction in force, effectively layoffs, firings to their employees. And I just heard from a spokesperson over at the Health and Human Services Department that they are among those agencies, those departments that are going to be moving forward with agency rifts. I am told that here from the agency that it's going to be across multiple divisions, and that under the Biden administration, the department had become bloated. This is the spokesperson. HHS continues to close wasteful and duplicative entities, including those that are at odds with Trump administration's Make America Healthy Again agenda here.
You know, I'm seeing this rhetoric coming from the far left saying, oh, well, they're clutching their pearls. They're saying, my heavens, President Trump can't just fire everybody in the federal government that disagrees with him. And I'm sitting here like, why not, though? Why no? Hold up. Wait a minute. Why not? Listen, why? The American people overwhelmingly voted. We issued a national mandate. We voted for Trump. Push forward and enact the America First agenda. This is what we want. As far as I'm concerned, anybody in the federal government that's trying to drag their feet, undermine, or subvert that mandate that we gave the America First agenda, listen, yeah, get them out of there. These people are these federal employees ought to be serving the American people. The American people, we voted for Trump. Okay, we put him in the White House, not these unelected federal bureaucrats. You do what we say, and if you don't, your ass is gone. That's my opinion. Maybe I'm a radical. I don't know. You let me know if you agree. That's my opinion, at least.
Here. And so just how vast are these intended layoffs? It's not clear. We are 10 days into this government shutdown. We should also be clear at the same time that not only has the AFL-CIO filed a lawsuit, but also the American Federation of Government Employees. And there is actually a hearing that is pending to take place in Northern California this upcoming Thursday. Those lawsuits were filed ahead of this actual action being taken place. Yeah. It was when OMB Director Russ Vought had threatened, along with the president, to move forward with these firings that we have not seen in previous government shutdowns. This also comes after IRS had informed employees who had been furloughed that they would in fact be receiving.
This notion that a bunch of radically progressive California state federal judges have any say whatsoever over who the president of the United States of America, the chief executive, he's the CEO of the nation, over whether or not he gets to lay people off or not. This is absurd. He was elected. You were appointed by some other radically progressive politician. You have no say. Who are you? You're some nobody. Nobody's ever heard of you in California. Nobody voted for you. Trying to dictate what the president can and can't do. This is just an absolute mockery of the way our country ought to operate. He's the chief executive. It is his job to execute. It is President Trump's job to enforce the laws of this country. The legal system, the judicial branch, interprets the laws. President Trump executes the laws. And that's what he is doing. He's the chief executive. They seem to think that they've got more power than he does. Guess what? They don't. Chuck Schumer is panicking at the concept of these layoffs that are now being issued today, being pushed out the door today. He said, Russell Vought just fired thousands of Americans with a tweet. Awesome. That's awesome. That's not exactly what happened, but in conceptually awesome. Chuck Schumer said, let's be blunt. Nobody is forcing Trump or Vought to do this. They don't have to do it. They want to. You know what? Me too. Give me a 1 in the live chat if you also want to do this. Yes, our federal government is bloated. Yes, we've got people in the federal government, swamp beasts, that are undermining and sabotaging the America First agenda, the agenda that we, the people, have voted for. Get the hell out. Get them out. Yeah, they want to do it. So do I. I want to do it too. We all want to do it. The overwhelming majority of Americans, we've seen the polling data, are in favor of cleaning out, gutting the federal government. It's wasteful. There's so much abuse and fraud. He goes on to say, they're callously choosing to hurt people, the workers who protect our country, inspect our food, respond when disasters strike. As it would turn out, Chuck Schumer, actually not every federal employee is necessary. A lot of them are just total and complete wastes of space, soaking up taxpayer money, totally unnecessary, superfluous. President Trump said this about this entire dynamic yesterday afternoon as a reminder.
How many permanent jobs are you talking
Well, I can tell you, I'll be able to tell you that in 4 or 5 days if this keeps going on. If this keeps going on, it'll be substantial, and a lot of those jobs will never come back. But you're going to have a lot closer to a balanced budget, actually.
A lot closer to a balanced budget. Listen, folks, I mean, these federal employees, it's not just what their salary is, $80, $90, $100,000, whatever it is. There's a big range, but it's also the benefits, the vacation time, it's the health care, it's all of these things that they are getting as I mean, really all of us taxpayers are paying for it, and they're not providing results. Are all of these waste of space federal employees actually making the country better or more effective? No, they're not. Now, by the way, I don't want anybody to misunderstand what I'm saying. Most certainly, there are good, important, entirely necessary government employees. Of course, we all know that. So I'm not saying that maybe this is what Rand Paul wants or some anarchist. I don't know. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have a government at all, that we shouldn't have any government employees whatsoever. No. But yeah, listen, we have a lot of waste. There's a lot of fraud. There's a lot of waste. We have way too many employees in the federal government. We got to get rid of them. At a certain point, you got to clean house. You got to clean house a little bit. Now, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, President Trump is coming on out. At some point, this bombshell announcement in the Oval Office, really an emergency announcement. They threw this up on the calendar late last night. It wasn't there yesterday afternoon alongside the other stuff. They tossed this up on the calendar on the schedule late last night. President makes an announcement. This, I think it's fair to call this an emergency announcement here. So we're going to tune in here. It was scheduled to begin 6 minutes ago, a little bit behind schedule. That's kind of how it is, though. We all know how this goes at this point. That's fine, though. We are on President Trump's schedule. He is not on our schedule. So I think probably while we are waiting, this is probably a good time to take a look at some of these super chats. Nick Yapolo 15, he says, Trump just raised tariffs on China again, 100%. You know, the video that I put out earlier today was talking about China. Trump went nuclear on China. China is effing around again. They've backstabbed the U.S. They have backstabbed President Trump. I made a big video about that this morning. And I would not be surprised if Trump, maybe he already has, if Trump bumps up tariffs on China. So far, for the last couple months, Trump has already maintained a 10% flat reciprocal tariff, everything coming out of China into the U.S., and then also a 20% flat, he's calling it a fentanyl tariff, because China has refused to crack down on all of the fentanyl precursor chemicals coming out of China into Latin America, into the United States. They make fentanyl with these chemicals. China is shipping them out, making a ton of money. And Trump said, hey, you got to stop. You got to stop putting out all these fentanyl chemicals. And so they haven't. They've refused to do that. Guess what? 20% tariff. So right now, for months now, we've had a cumulative 30% flat tariff on China. I would suspect that number is going to go up here pretty soon. Could be 60, 70, 100%. I don't know. But I think it's fair to say this is economic war. We are in a trade war with China. There's no doubt. I think we have been for a long time. And now people are finally realizing the dynamic of the situation at hand. So thank you very much, Nikki. Fred says Congress and Senate should not get any pay during a shutdown. I agree, Fred. I take it a step further. I think whoever in Congress or Senate is causing this shutdown, Chuck Schumer, maybe others, they should actually have to pay us money. Not only should they not be getting paid money, they should actually owe money to all of us taxpayers. Chuck Schumer should write me a $100 check, and all of you folks as well. That's how I feel. Not only don't pay him, make him pay us. Reverse it on him, because, yeah, this is absurd. At this point, guys, we're 10 days. This is total insanity. Make him pay for it. Thank you, Fred. Coy Stallings says, am I dreaming because limited government as a concern is a dream come true? I think listen, I think it's fair to say with conservatism here, it's this tacit acknowledgement. Yes, a government is necessary, but we need to limit the size of that government, which is what's happening now. Okay, yes, we got to have a federal government. There are some key functions that must be performed at a federal level. However, it is so bloated. It is so massive. Start making cuts. That's what Russ Vought is doing. The Trump administration making massive cuts starting today. Let's go. So that, as far as I'm concerned, that's what's happening. The Democrats, of course, they do not want that. They want a bloated, massive, bureaucratic beast, behemoth of a government. And that's how we've gotten here in the first place. Dogs says, make MA state great again. We got to make all the states great again. Thank you. I think I am on top of all of these super chats. So thank you everybody very much. You know, right now we actually don't know, to be clear, everybody's tuning in now. We don't know the exact nature of this announcement. Like I said, this was an emergency. They put this on President Trump's schedule late last night after everybody had gone to bed, after the first draft of the schedule was already publicly published. So they threw this on the schedule late last night, this 5 p.m. Eastern time presidential announcement in the Oval Office. We don't know the exact nature, but it was a last minute addition to the schedule. It's got to be something big. There are three, I'll give you my guess. Okay, we can all kind of speculate here. There are three big kind of topics at hand in the nation right now. Let's go through them. Of course, we're talking about the government shutdown. This is day 10 of the government shutdown. So this, you know, emergency announcement today that is going to be happening literally any second now could be related in some way to the government shutdown, day 10 today. That could be the first thing. The second thing is President Trump is heading to the Middle East on Sunday, October 12th, 2 days from now. Today's Friday. And he's going to sign, the documentation, shake a couple hands, and he's going to really put an end to this Hamas-Israel conflict. That's a really big deal. So this could be relating to that dynamic. He's hopping on Air Force One and flying to the Middle East in 2 days. Could be that. It could also be, this is what I hope it's about. I am sitting here personally hoping that President Trump invokes the Insurrection Act. You know, we have seen all of the carnage and mayhem and violence. Really, it's an open insurrection of the federal government, these sanctuary states, sanctuary cities. Antifa, domestic terror organization, is running through the streets with complete and total impunity, doing whatever they want. They've been assaulting journalists and federal officers. They're doing whatever they want because local authorities in sanctuary cities like Chicago and Portland, turn a blind eye. And so what I hope, this is what I want. There is a reasonable chance we might have the Insurrection Act get invoked today, as in the next 5 or 10 minutes. So, because, you know, President Trump is scheduled to come on out here any second. Now, I will say, everybody, first off, of course, as always, thank you all very much for tuning in. If you are new, please make sure to subscribe on YouTube and Rumble, Matt Morris TV. Hit that subscribe button. And also, if you could do me a favor and like today's broadcast on Rumble and YouTube, it would help a lot. It really does help a ton. Now, speaking of Rumble real quick, I see a massive super chat over on Rumble from Counselor. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We got to give credit to the Rumblers. He says, thank you for all you do. We enjoy your newscasts. You know, Counsel, I met somebody in real life. I was getting my hair cut. The woman cutting my hair. I kid you not. She said, you look like that guy on Rumble. I said, you're watching me on Rumble. I said, that's me. So we've got people that are only tuning in on Rumble. They're not even watching on YouTube. The woman who cut my hair the other day, she did a good job. She said, I recognize you from Rumble. I said, okay, you're a real one. You're over on Rumble. You're the real deal. So, hey, thank you. Shout out the Rumble guys. Also the YouTube guys, everybody. Thank you very much. I couldn't believe it. Thank you very much. That's a big one. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have a minute here, so I figure we'll talk about the super chats while we wait for President Trump. He's coming on out here. You can look at the Secret Service agent up there on the roof patrolling, making sure nobody's doing anything crazy. Craig Bryant, he says, $20. Thank you very much. He says, if the federal government size goes down, would that possibly cause Governor Pritzker to lose weight? You know, we can only hope. We can only hope. Right now, Pritzker, I really genuinely believe that he is loosely related to Jabba the Hutt. I think he is a member of the Hutt Federation on the far rim of the galaxy, operating in direct and open defiance of the Jedi Order. I do believe that he has Han Solo frozen in carbonite in his basement, and I'm worried about talking too much trash about JB Pritzker because I am scared he will eat me. I think he might devour me in one bite. So I am worried about that. I need to probably stop talking too much trash about him because I am scared. Frankly, I'm scared of him. So hey, thank you though. Thank you very much. That's a good one. This is Matt. Excellent name. Wow, what a great name. I can tell you're a smart guy, probably handsome guy too. He says, I explained to my mom that the government is like an HOA, a homeowners association. Do you really want a big HOA that gets in all your business, or a small, efficient HOA that does the basics but necessities keep it small? Yeah, true. That's very true. I have in my life, I've lived in HOA communities and non-HOA communities, and frankly, I'm more of a fan of the non-HOA communities. But no, there are some upsides to having an HOA, no doubt. Can't deny that. Minimal though, although they may be. Depends on the neighborhood. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And then, of course, we have a big super chat from Mr. Schroeder. You probably say Schroeder. In German is Schroeder. Thank you very much. He says, T-shirt fund. You do a great job. Love your shorts on YouTube. Mr. Schroeder, thank you very much. I really do. I'm trying to make more YouTube shorts. You guys know I'm a one-man operation, so everything that I put out, the videos, 8, 9, 10 minutes long, the broadcasts, the live shows like this one here, the shorts, it's all just me doing it. So maybe I should get some help. That would probably be a smart thing to get. Maybe to help get a script writer or something, an editor. So far, everything, Lord, all the research, the script writing. In fact, do you guys want to see something crazy? I think what I'm about to show you is going to blow your mind. Everybody, I'm going to kind of show you something a little bit behind the scenes here. Every single video that I write, I type it up by hand. And right now, every single video I have ever written right here, I have 817 pages. I kid you not. I do all of this myself personally by hand, 800. So I could read you a video script for one that I wrote months ago. I don't know. Well, ladies and gentlemen, just when you thought that Somalian Congressional Representative Ilhan Omar, so this one was about Ilhan Omar months ago, and I'm doing it all by hand. I'm typing it out. So it does take time. It is a one-man show. I appreciate it a lot. All the support, everybody. Thank you very much. It does. It helps a lot. You know, one time I tried, honestly, I did try one time to have ChatGPT. I tried with Grok. I said, hey, can you write a video script? And it's just crap. I said, hey, listen, it might be helpful if I could have Grok or ChatGPT try it out. Maybe I could use AI to generate a video script. It sucks. It doesn't work. I tried it, so I don't know. Maybe someday. Not yet. We're not there yet. Maybe I need to hire a script writer. Maybe that would help a little bit. Hold up. I'm seeing some breaking news. Somebody just said that President Trump just put a big tariff on China. Is that true? Maybe not. Maybe they were saying what they wanted to have happen, but maybe it hasn't happened yet. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, look at this. President Trump is set to impose a 100% tariff on China starting November 1st on top of all of the current tariffs. So right now we said he already has a 30% flat tariff on China. So now it's going to be a 130% flat tariff on China. Listen, China, you will bend the knee. You need to capitulate here because this is going to be way worse for you. We've seen the Trump administration. They have explained this to us time and time again. We all know this to be true. Trump has said it. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has explained this. Stephen Miller has said this. When it comes to a trade war, we're trading tariffs back and forth, trade war with China, which is what this is. China suffers way more from these tariffs than we do from their tariffs. Why? It's because they have an export economy. We have the import economy. Okay? If China has to pay tariffs to export their plastic crap into our country, that's a much bigger portion of their GDP than our exports to them is for our GDP. They need us. Let's say this, their GDP needs us more than our GDP needs them. This is not going to go well for them. I'm telling you what. Now, listen, here's what I will say. If you need to be buying any Chinese crap on Amazon or Temu, do it now. Hey, get it over with. Because starting November, was that about 3 weeks from now, 2.5 weeks from now, that price is going to go up probably a little bit. So maybe if you need to buy any Chinese stuff, you know what? Buy all of your Christmas presents now. It's time to go Christmas shopping now, I guess. Yeah, Merry Christmas. Go buy all your birthday presents, your Christmas presents, and get that taken care of. Maybe now it's time to do it. You know, there's also this narrative that I don't know. Maybe I can understand why people on the left, people that don't like President Trump, they were saying this in April around Liberation Day. Now we know this is totally untrue. The narrative from the left was and still is to this day that, well, tariffs are incompetent. Tariffs are a bad idea because tariffs are nothing more than a tax on the consumer. So if President Trump puts a 100% tariff on them, then all of us consumers here in America, we are going to have to pay 100% more. Well, we are now 6 months. Literally, we are 6 months, over 6 months into President Trump's tariffs. Liberation Day was in early April, 6 months ago. Our consumer product, the prices of these consumer products have not substantially gone up, or actually, in most cases, they have not gone up at all. We actually had the CEO of Amazon about a month and a half ago. I could show you if I want. The CEO of Amazon himself came out and said that we actually have not seen an increase in the price of consumer products for Americans in this country. That's the CEO of Amazon. And we've seen business leader after business leader after business leader come out and say, yeah, actually it's not increasing prices. It's actually totally marginal, if at all. And so what we are finding is that these countries that are exporting products to us here in the country, they are comfortable paying this import price. That just seems to be the case. I guess maybe you could make a metaphor. It's like you go to a bar and there's a hot girl sitting at the counter and you say, man, I want to take her out on a date, or I want to go talk to her. Well, if you want to talk to her, you might have to buy her a beer or buy her a shot or something, right? That's sort of the access fee. You got to buy her a bouquet of flowers, maybe. I don't know, whatever the item is. There's an access fee. Listen, what Trump has realized is that, listen, America has something very powerful that almost no other country has. Almost no other country has what we have. And what that is an incredibly rich consumer market. We are wealthy in America, and we buy all types of stuff from all over the world. We are we are the single wealthiest consumer market, and there's a lot of us. There's we're a very big market, 350 million people. And so what Trump has realized is, listen, so many other countries around the world, their entire economy is built upon selling their stuff that they manufacture, selling it to us here in America. We can make them pay. We can make them pay an entrance fee. We can make them pay an entrance fee. And that is what has been happening. As a consequence, we've been generating, what, 30, 35, $40 billion a month in tariff revenue. And, just at a foundational level, let me ask some of you people that are disagreeing with me, with everything I'm saying, if imposing tariffs is so incompetent, then why has every other country around the world been imposing tariffs on us for decades now? If tariffs are so stupid, if they're such a unilaterally incompetent decision, then why is it that pretty much every single other country, like literally every single other country on the face of the planet, has been imposing lopsided trade tariffs against us? That seems a little bit strange. I don't know. Think about that. That's something to digest here for a second. Now, we do have some super chats here. I want to take a look at this. Edward Emmer, he says, we love you and the effort and news you bring to us. I think you're one of the best channels. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That really does mean a lot. You guys are very kind. You are very, very generous. Thank you very much. There's actually, am I defending tariffs? I am. I think tariffs are genius economic policy. There's actually another component to tariffs beyond just the revenue or GDP or consumer prices. There is another huge component of tariffs, which is the aim and the goal of re-domesticating manufacturing, which is massive. In the last couple months, we have seen a huge amount of manufacturers come back from India, Mexico, Canada, China. They are coming back. They're bringing these jobs, this manufacturing powerhouse, back to the U.S., which was really lost a couple decades ago. We're bringing it back to the country, which is not only just good, economically, we're creating jobs here for Americans, high-paying jobs, but beyond that, it is really genius from a national security point of view. And the reason I say that, let me give you a very recent, pertinent example of why it is very important to manufacture things domestically here in this country. Everybody rewind back about 3.5 or 4 years. It is the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID pandemic is sweeping out across the world, there is a shortage of toilet paper and masks and medical equipment, personal protective equipment, PPE, ventilators, all types of things. There's a huge global shortage because of this pandemic. Well, we found ourselves in a very precarious situation early on in the COVID days. The reason why is because we here in America, we were caught off guard. We were totally incapable of manufacturing these goods on our own domestically. So we turned to China. We said, China, listen, we need to double our purchase. We want more masks. We want more ventilators. We need stuff to help combat the pandemic. Well, China, what did they say? In our moment of need, when we were having huge PPE medical supply shortages here in the country, what did China say? They said, that's too bad. They said, listen, we have a pandemic here as well. We need the masks. We need the PPE. We need the medicine. We need the toilet paper. This is a pandemic. You're on your own. Good luck. Go screw yourself is what they told us. And so we, early on in the Biden era, we were totally caught off guard. We were scrambling. We had to repurpose different factories to make different things. And this is just frankly a massive national security issue. Really, that should be a massive eye-opening example. That was a pandemic, and frankly, it wasn't even really that bad of a pandemic. God forbid there was a real pandemic, a serious pandemic where people are dying in mass, or God forbid there's a global war. What do you think happens if World War III breaks out and we are totally reliant on China to manufacture everything for us? What do you think happens? What do you think happens if China is on the opposite side of that World War III global war type of dynamic? We're screwed. We're caught with our pants down. We're done. Okay? Listen, exporting our manufacturing to a country like China that is diametrically and ideologically opposed to us in every single way conceivable, exporting our manufacturing to them has been one of the most incompetent and short-sighted endeavors this country has ever undergone. It was so incredibly stupid. Thank God, I thank God, seriously I do, that President Trump is the first president we have had in decades that understands the threat that China poses and he's making actual legitimate serious moves to combat China as a threat in the 21st century. Almost, and I'll give you some examples here. You start to realize if you look at what President Trump has been doing and is currently doing through the lens of combating China, which he is, a lot of what Trump has been doing starts to make a lot more sense. Why is Trump interested in retaking the Panama Canal? Because of China. This is a a geosecurity issue. We cannot let China have control over the Panama Canal, let alone beyond the fact that we built it. We built that canal. We cannot let China have control of that. This is putting American national security at risk. Why is China interested in taking Greenland or buying Greenland? It's to combat China. Why are we preventing China from owning farmland in the United States of America? It's because finally we have a president that realizes China is a threat to the country. This is a national security issue. We should not let the CCP own God knows how many hectares of farmland outside of a bunch of U.S. military bases. Now, that's enough of me rambling and monologuing. Folks, we are inside the White House. President Trump, inside the Oval Office. President Trump is making this emergency speech. And we're going to see what this is about here. He's coming on out. Now, I can already kind of piece this together a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe this is about his new prescription drug program, TrumpRx.gov, where Americans will be able to buy prescription drugs, maybe over-the-counter drugs, I'm not sure, medication, on the internet at a heavily reduced price. I believe that's what this is going to be about, because you can kind of see over there what's on that poster. I believe that's what this is going to be about. So, hey, let's see what President Trump has to say any second here. And of course, we have the Ronald Reagan portrait here. You know, fun fact. You know who hated tariffs? Ronald Reagan. Is anybody here old enough to remember that? Reagan, he was not a fan of trade tariffs. This is one policy point that Trump and Reagan actually really disagree on. They're very different in this regard. Reagan hated tariffs. Trump, he is Mr. Tariff. He's Mr. Tariff. Little bit of a difference there. Oh, here we go. You can tell sometimes, folks, every time we have a big broadcast like this, we've got over 20,000 people tuning in. I think some people, they're new people, they're tuning into the show. They don't know that this is an America First community. Listen, hey, for anybody new to the show, this is America First. We love America First. We're making the country great again. Maybe the community's not for everybody, listen, but if it's for you, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. President Trump is coming out any second, everybody. By the way, if you are new, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to like today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe. It means a lot. It does help a lot. And I gotta say, I think the Rumble broadcast also over here on Rumble has been blowing up lately too. We've got over 1,000 people hanging out in the Rumble chat. Now, I wonder, can I go to TrumpRx.gov right now? Ladies and gentlemen, this is TrumpRx.gov. This is an official U.S. government website. Find your medication, TrumpRx, for the lowest price. The lowest prescription prices in America. We do not sell medications. Instead, it connects patients directly to the best prices. A breakthrough for Americans. TrumpRx. All right. So we're going to be talking that's a great picture too. We're going to be talking about TrumpRx today, ladies and gentlemen. Saving Americans money with their prescription drug prices. That's a big deal. Big deal. Matt, this is not a massive announcement. Stop with the clickbait titles. Are you the person that gets to define massive announcements? What if for somebody else it is? I think it's a massive announcement. Just because you don't take prescription medication does not mean this is not I think this is a big deal. Who made you the master of defining announcements? Disagree. Sorry, you gotta deal with it, buddy. You're just gonna have to deal with it. I think it is. I think it is a massive deal. Oh, we've got RFK, Lutnick is coming in, Dr. Oz. The entire team is here. This is big. You know, I'm a young guy. I don't even take any prescription medication myself. Even I can see this is a big deal. Listen, if we are slashing prescription drug prices for Americans by 80% or whatever it is, yeah, that's a big deal. Even if I'm not the one taking them, I can still see, yeah, that's a big deal. A lot of people do have medication they have to take. Yeah. I think we're just waiting for the man himself here, Mr. President Trump. Mr. President Trump. All we need is the POTUS. Bring out the POTUS. Why is this man in the corner? He is waiting to open the door for President Trump. He is the doorman, I think. Beautiful office. Opulent. The word that comes to mind is opulent. Regal. Take a look at a super chat here. Mr. Milton Smith, he says, good job on the channel and keeping track of all this news. Thank you very much. Oh, Milton, thank you. Thank you. I'm doing my best. Maybe I do need to get some help, though. I don't know these days.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Nice to have you. This is a big announcement. We have a lot of big announcements. They're sort of all big announcements, actually. It's wonderful to be in the Oval Office. I think you probably like it the best. You like it the best for press conferences? I sort of do. But today I'm excited to announce another historic achievement in our quest to lower drug prices for all Americans. Prices have come way down. We've gotten prices way down for groceries, for oil especially. Today we broke $60 a barrel. We think the oil is going to be under $2 a gallon very soon. That's about 70% lower than what it was just a year ago. So that's a big thing. And when the oil comes down, everything comes down. It's pretty beautiful to watch. AstraZeneca, the largest pharmaceutical manufacturer in the United Kingdom, is committing to offer Americans major discounts on their vast catalog of prescription drugs, one of the great companies, by the way, and a most favored nation's pricing clause. So most favored nation is you're going to pay whatever the lowest price anywhere in the world is. That's what you're going to be paying.
Good. That's big.
And I had it going very well in my first term, but we were interrupted by a rigged election, so I was unable to carry it forward. We started it, but this was something one of the reasons I wanted to run again was we had to have favored nations where the world is not going to be paying just a tiny fraction of what we were paying. I want to thank CEO Pascal Soriot, a very highly respected, one of the most respected men in business and certainly in the industry, for joining us today, as well as Secretary Howard Lutnick, Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., CMS Administrator Mehmet Oz, FDA Commissioner Marty McCary, and Virginia Governor, a man who's done an incredible job. And good luck with the upcoming election. I know you're working very hard. I watch you. You're right there. He's out there working. He wants to see that young woman win, and the Attorney General, who I endorsed, et cetera, et cetera. Glenn Youngkin. Thank you very much, Glenn. Thank you for being here. For many years, Americans have paid the highest prices anywhere in the world for prescription drugs, by far, many times the amount that other countries are paying is ridiculous. Upon taking office, I signed an executive order to make sure that Americans pay no more for prescription medications than the lowest price for the same drug in other locations in developing nations. Today, AstraZeneca is committing to offer all of their prescription medications to Medicaid at most favored nations prices. In other words, the lowest price anywhere in the world, that's what we get. A move that will save American taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars each year. And I tell the story, Glenn, that in my first term, I had the honor of being the first president in 28 years to lower drug prices during the course of the year. And we actually did, and I was so proud of myself. We called a news conference. I announced it. It was 1/8 of 1%. 1/8 of 1%. Now drug prices are going to be going down 100%, 400%, 600%, 1,000% in some cases. But for 1/8 of a cent, Bobby, think of that. I was so proud because for 28 years, nobody had done it. And now it's... I think back to that. I said I shouldn't have had that news conference, but it is true. I was the only one that did it, but it was not very much. And now we're going to get, in some cases, 1,000% reduction. This is going to have a huge impact on everything from Social Security to Medicare to Medicaid, anything where they're buying any prescription drugs. It's going to have an incredible impact. It's going to lower itself greatly. AstraZeneca will also list many of their most popular drugs online at TrumpRx.gov. TrumpRx. I don't know why they put the name Trump. I did not tell them to do it, but I'm honored to let them do it. That's true, actually. That heavily reduced most favored nations cost. Americans can expect discounts, and as I said, it could be in many cases way over 100%. And as an example, one particular drug that's hot, very hot, 654% on inhalers, COPD and asthma, as well as certain diabetics medications. They're going to be averaging about 654% reduction in price. You believe that one? The Democrats will say, well, he should have gotten more. It's crazy. In addition, all medications AstraZeneca introduces to the American market going forward will also be sold at these heavily discounted rates. Furthermore, AstraZeneca will invest $50 billion in the United States over the next 5 years for research and development of new drugs and to onshore manufacturing facilities across the country, like the new plant that broke ground yesterday in Charlottesville, Virginia, where the governor attended. They had a tremendous group of people attending. It's going to have 3,600 jobs just to begin with. And that's going to be a fantastic plant. I saw a picture. It's going to be the best, right? You can't get any better. This is a tremendous victory for Virginia and for American patients and for everything, for the country. It's an amazing company to have coming over to the United States in such a big way. That's going to be a big part of the company. Presidents have promised for years to lower the cost of health care. But my administration is actually the first to do it and do it substantially, do it at numbers that nobody thought, even I thought were not possible. When you think of it, if you got a 1%, 2%, 5%, that's good. You did a good job. We're talking about 100, 200, 300, 500, 700 in some cases, some big, big numbers. And the largest drug companies in the world are working with us to make this a reality. And so I look forward to being at your opening of that incredible facility. I hear something, and it's in a great location, Len, right? One of the beautiful locations. So I'd now like to ask Secretary Kennedy to say a few words, followed by Dr. Oz, Pascal, Governor Youngkin, and we'll take some questions afterwards. Would anybody like to have some questions? Yes? Oh, I'm shocked. Okay, we'll take them right after, okay? Bobby, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I talked about this a little yesterday in the cabinet meeting, but it's worth repeating because it shows this historical achievement as really monumental. When I was in my confirmation process, virtually every Democratic senator showed me their preoccupation with making sure that we completed, that I was going to continue to get a commitment from me to continue the IRA drug price negotiations. That the IRA required the Democrats, while President Biden was in the first year of the IRA, to negotiate 10 drug prices down. And then I was supposed to, my first year, negotiate 15 and 15 every year thereafter, and that was their plan. The Democrats claimed that they had a 22% reduction, and that was a great success. When we actually looked at that, when I came into the agency, we realized we were actually paying more for 8 of the 10 drugs. The 22% reduction was off of list price. And Medicare ended up paying more for 8 of the drugs, equal for the 9th, and about a 2% discount on the 10th drug. So that was the plan, and that's what they did. We are continuing the IRA negotiations, but thanks to the president's leadership, we have achieved something extraordinary here, which is a dream that he's had for 20 years because he's the common sense president. He saw something 20 years ago. He learned that we were paying 3, 4, 5, sometimes 10 times for the same drug as they were paying in European countries. Some of these drugs were manufactured in facilities in New Jersey and then sold for 1/10 the price in Great Britain, in London or Paris, that Americans were being charged for them here. He saw that this was unfair. Every Democratic president, every Republican president has said that this was the gold standard. This is what we needed to do. Nobody's been able to change it. And when we came in, I have to say I was pessimistic about doing MFN. Dr. Oz was pessimistic. Our staff, John Brook and Chris Klump and the other people we brought in were all pessimistic. The president saw something that we didn't see, which is we had leverage. And that came through Howard and the tariffs, and we had extraordinary leverage to craft these deals. So last week we had Pfizer in, which is one of the biggest American pharmaceutical companies. Today we have AstraZeneca in with Pascal Soriot, which is one of the biggest European pharmaceutical companies. And the president asked us to do three things. One, to get MFN prices. Two, to not bankrupt these companies. He understood that America has to be the center for innovation. The drug industry needs to innovate, that it's critical for its bottom line, it's critical for the health of the American people. And he asked us also to make sure that those companies would keep their promise to reshore this industry. For national security purposes, for our economy, it's critical. These companies are making these drugs in the United States. We were able to achieve all those things, and partially with the visionary help of Pascal, where is he? Of Pascal Zorias, who understood that innovation and the business doesn't work if everybody is not pulling the oars, if everybody doesn't have the skin in the game. The whole world was riding on our shoulders and riding on our dime. 70% of pharmaceutical revenues comes from this country. We only have 4.2% of the world's population. And we were paying for 80 or 90% of the innovation here. Yeah. And the rest of the world was a free rider. And Pascal understood that that's not fair, and it's not a good, sustainable, long-term business model. And he came to the table. He was one of the first leaders to come to the table. I want to thank him for his vision, for operating with us in good faith. And this is an extraordinary deal. Not only that, but as the president just pointed out, he is also reshoring this industry here. He has 19 facilities already operating in this country. He has this other facility in Albemarle County that Dr. Oz went with Governor Youngkin and broke ground on yesterday. He has a second facility that is under construction in Kendall Square in Boston, another facility in Rockville, Maryland, and a fourth facility in Copper, Texas, right outside of Dallas-Fort Worth. And he's got plans for building many more in this country, thanks to the president's leadership, to the tariffs, and to the common sense the president has demonstrated in his own commitment to make drug prices lower for hardworking Americans. So I want to thank the president for your visionary leadership. I want to thank Dr. Oz for his part, and Marty McCary in negotiating this deal. Dr. Heidi Overton, Theo Merkel, Chris Klump, and John Brooks, who all played critical parts in the negotiation. And of course, Howard Lutnick, who was the key to these negotiations. Who do we bring up now? Dr. Oz.
Thanks, Secretary.
He'll take your place, Pascal.
Oh, Pascal, I get to introduce Pascal, which I'll do with great joy and honor. So the world is watching as President Trump tries to make peace in every place he can go. But at the same time, President Trump is putting peace into the hearts of Americans and bringing peace of mind to them, especially Americans who cannot afford their medications. And just to put a number on this, as he releases us from the bondage of paying 3 times more for the exact same product made in the same factory, in the same pill box, in the same instruction manual overseas, rather in this country than we pay overseas, it creates an opportunity for us because, Mr. President, you're turning the art of the deal into the art of the heel. And that is something that you're going to witness today. And it's the second, we have more coming, but this is a very important one because I want to set the stage here. And Ms. Secretary, you're too modest. Secretary Kennedy did have a vision to push hard on this. He understood we could give the right medications to the right people at the right time. And there is nothing more maha than giving folks life-saving medications in a timely fashion so you prevent illnesses and treat other ones that have already occurred. You save lives that way. That literally is what was on the line as we began negotiating these. So let's set the stage. Where are we right now? Why this order? Last week in this very room, President Trump welcomed the CEO of Pfizer, and that company, a leading U.S. pharmaceutical company, pledged to provide exactly what the president promised. Massive discounts to allow us to have most favored nation drug pricing in this country so we don't allow our people to pay more than folks overseas. And this was unthinkable even 6 months ago, 7 months ago when we came into office. And Americans now have the ability to do that, but we needed to prove it was scalable. So we went to AstraZeneca, which is the leading pharmaceutical company, a leading company in the entire world, but a massive opportunity in this march to MFN, a march to most favored nation drug pricing. Yep. And to have this message land clearly, we needed to make sure that the president's demand for fair drug pricing was heard all around the globe. And I actually think the single most powerful tool we had was the president, because people take him seriously. And some of the things that they were hearing overseas were alarming them enough that they began to realize the jig was up. So let's talk about the deal specifically. What are John Brooks, if you give me my Vanna White, please. John back there is Theo, Vince, Heidi were parts of the team. There are other members of the team I'll speak of in a second. So these are the 5 deal points. This is what Trump RX, by the way, which just launched, TrumpRx.gov, which was a unanimous name, by the way, Mr. President. He was not involved in picking the name, but it was not a difficult one to land on. We thought it had a catchy element to it. All primary care medications sold by AstraZeneca are going to be available on Trump RX, which means no more gaming, no more middlemen. Starting early next year, when you go to the website, you'll be able to see a marketplace. We're not selling the drugs. We're just making information available to everyone so you go to the right place to buy the right medication. Second, drugs for lung diseases are discounted massively, and that's over here on this line. The president highlighted 650%. They're significant discounts, and these are medications. We just picked the ones for lung disease and one for metabolic syndrome, diabetes, but there are others that are included. We have most favored nation pricing for everyone who is on Medicaid in this country. That's why Governor Youngkin is able to do backflips with his nimble 6'6" physique, because for governors, this is a massive problem. If Medicaid prices continue going up, it crowds out other social services, which he'll speak to. We also have MFN for all new prescription drugs. Mr. President, by the time this term is done, 95% of all drugs sold in America, branded drugs and generic, will be available at most favored nation drug pricing. Americans are going to benefit if the prices drop abroad. So Secretary Lutnick is going to make sure that if we get better prices for these companies from our partner countries overseas, the American people see those benefits, and there's going to be onshoring of manufacturing. And as has been mentioned, I stood with Governor Youngkin and Pascal Soriot as we broke ground yesterday in Charlottesville, Virginia, a massive $4 billion facility. That's the hard hat, Mr. President. I know you like construction, so that was all I could bring back. But there was a lot of remarkable energy. And here's what that event really does. It sends a signal. It sends a signal for all countries around the world to stop freeloading off American innovation. It's done. It's not going to happen anymore with this president. And if you aren't picking up your end of the bargain, then you're going to be welcoming a lot of more companies to leave your shores and allow us to welcome them into our shores as they open up manufacturing facilities here. And for all the pharmaceutical companies out there, we're talking to all of you, pick up a shovel. This is a great place to build a facility, as AstraZeneca has shown us, and I think it has a wonderful opportunity in the future as well as this country continues to support the innovation Secretary Kennedy spoke about, because we're not compromising that at all. We're just getting fair prices for the American people. To the team, tough negotiations, Mr. President. You know how hard they can be. You can't get there without world-class negotiators, and we are blessed by individuals to work with the AstraZeneca team who are killers, head-to-head. And why? Because talented people out of the private sector are coming into government to serve this president in a generational opportunity that they feel in their heart will make a difference. John Brooks is part of that team. Chris Klump, Inma Hernandez, numerous other folks contributed as well. But we're open for business. And if you want a great position and a patriot, like the folks who negotiated these deals, please consider coming with us, because the president has made it clear that you will make a difference in government. Finally, I want to thank Pascal Soriot. Pascal is an interesting, almost enigmatic individual. He's a CEO of AstraZeneca. He is born in France, Australian citizen, knighted in Great Britain, running their largest pharmaceutical company. So you figure out the lineage. But one thing I know is a very, very smart man who came here early on, took the president seriously, and he recognized the inherent unfairness of the European model of global freeloading off our innovation. True. He appreciated the challenge, and he wanted to be part of the solution. So Pascal, take it away.
True.
Thank you so much. So, President Trump, it is really a pleasure to see you again, since I had a chance to meet you last time you visited the UK for your state visit. I know the King actually kept you late during the night, during your visit, late up at night. And I must thank you, actually, for returning the favor. I can tell you, you've kept me up at night, and my team as well. But it has been really worth it. It's been worth it because today I'm really excited to announce AstraZeneca's commitment to your vision for a healthy America. Great leadership is about having an ambitious vision that can energize people, and you appoint a very talented team that can deliver on this. Your vision is exactly that. It is about lowering the price of medicines for American patients while ensuring that America remains a global powerhouse of innovation in biopharmaceuticals. And that's not easy to do. We need to keep inventing the technologies and the products that will cure disease. But you actually gave us a key, equalization. That's an important word. Yeah. You've assembled a remarkable team, actually, that together with us found a way to deliver on your vision. I would like to thank you, Mr. President, for your collaborative and your trusting approach throughout the discussion that led to this agreement. In addition, I would like to thank Secretary Lutnick, I'd like to thank Secretary Kennedy, Dr. Oz, and the CMS team, in particular John Brooks, who is here today, but also Chris Klump, for their very straightforward approach and their collaborative work that, together with my great team at AstraZeneca, enabled us to deliver this agreement today. It is an agreement that allows a number of wins. First of all, a great win for American patients. This agreement will deliver improved access to our medicines at a lower cost. We've addressed the 4 points that you raised in your letter, ensuring Americans do not pay more than patients in other wealthy countries. So it's a big win for patients and the healthcare system as a whole. But it's also a big win for the economy and for taxpayers, because it supports rebalancing the cost of innovation across wealthy nations. For too long, America has shouldered a disproportionate portion of the world's R&D cost for breakthrough medicines development. That imbalance is not sustainable. It had to change. And equalization levels the playing field, with wealthy nations contributing their fair share to the cost and the risk associated with biopharmaceuticals R&D. And I would say it's also a big win for state budgets because these Medicaid price reductions will have an immediate impact on Medicaid budgets and provide substantial relief to state budgets. Finally, your vision also secures America's strong position in life sciences and the onshoring of critical innovations and manufacturing. As a company, we will invest $50 billion in manufacturing and in R&D. We already have a large presence in the United States. We have 19 sites, and we employ 25,000 people around the country. They're all developing the new generation of medicines. But we'll continue to increase our presence in this country. We're expanding our manufacturing footprint in Texas. We're building our second large R&D center in Kendall Square in Boston. We are building a cell therapy manufacturing plant in Rockville, Maryland, and there's more to come. So a lot of investment over the next few years. I want to say that I appreciate very much Secretary Lutnick granting us a 3-year tariff exemption to localize the remainder of our products. Most of our products are locally manufactured, but we need to transfer the remaining part to this country. And also for your great support to convince also other wealthy countries to share the cost of pharmaceutical innovation. It is an important part of this agreement, rebalancing and the cost around the country, around the world. Yesterday showcased our commitment to the United States with this $4.5 billion investment in the beautiful Commonwealth of Virginia to manufacture what we call API, active ingredients for our medicines, but also antibody-drug conjugates that are such a critical part of the future treatment of cancer care, what is called smart chemotherapy, targeted chemotherapy. I want to thank Dr. Oz for joining us for the groundbreaking ceremony near Charlottesville, together with Governor Youngkin. And I actually love your AstraZeneca hat. I know you wanted to bring a shovel, but didn't make it to this beautiful room. I have to say it has been a great pleasure to work with Governor Youngkin and his team, in particular Secretary Segura, on this investment. Like you, President Trump, they are deal makers that move at the speed of business. And it's very important for us company to be able to work with people who understand who we are and move very fast. Our new facility will be a great example of Virginia supporting domestic production of medicines for America, enhancing national security in pharmaceutical supply, but also creates thousands of highly skilled jobs. Governor Youngkin gave me a beautiful Virginia flag that we will proudly fly alongside the American flag in front of our new facility. So AstraZeneca's commitment to the United States is very strong, and this agreement ensures we'll make an even bigger difference for American patients. So, Mr. President, thank you again for welcoming me in this beautiful office and for making this moment possible. Thank you so much.
Pascal. Thank you very much.
Over to you, Glenn.
Whoa.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank everyone for celebrating this landmark moment. This landmark moment is not just a moment to announce a new way to buy less expensive life-saving medicine, but it is a step function change in the way that Virginians and Americans can access medicines. And it is a step function change because historically there was an opaque pricing mechanism that had so many people standing between the manufacturers and the patients that no one knew really what it cost. Well, now we can go direct to consumers. And that's what Trump Rx is all about, going direct to consumers, where a consumer can come and find that particular medication that they need and go direct to the company and get the best possible price. Second of all, the most favored nation clause is a groundbreaking moment.
Yep.
It's a groundbreaking moment because, as you've heard, that American customers have been paying 3, 4, 5 times what international customers have been paying.
True.
That is just not fair.
Nope.
And Mr. President, I want to thank you for simply recognizing that America must come first. And Americans deserve the best pricing, not the worst. It changes everything for a state. In Virginia, we have $1.5 billion a year of pharmaceutical expenditure under our Medicaid plan. $1.5 billion a year. We save 10%, 20%, 30%. All of a sudden, 150, 300 million, 450 million in savings can be realized by a state. Now, I firmly believe that's the people's money, and it should go back in tax relief. But think about the change that that enables for a state as they manage their healthcare expenditures. Finally, Mr. President, you have driven a reshoring of critical supply chains
That's
that
big.
no one thought could happen.
Big.
The industries that everyone thought were lost are now coming home, and with pharmaceutical manufacturing and active pharmaceutical ingredients particularly coming back to America, it changes everything. It's an economic moment for us. Yes, $4.5 billion into the Virginia economy, and that will in fact translate into $3 or $4 of extra economic impact for every dollar that is spent, 3,600 great paying jobs. But it's even more than that. This is a national security moment. And what you've just heard is one of the leading pharmaceutical companies in the world is choosing America, and yes, Virginia, to invest nearly $5 billion to build the most critical manufacturing for the future of America's health. That's not just a single example. It's happening all over. And in fact, in Virginia, Mr. President, we've been blessed with nearly $10 billion of commitments to build new pharmaceutical manufacturing in the great Commonwealth of Virginia. And therefore, I believe this is a moment to celebrate investment, but more importantly, to celebrate breakthroughs for American citizens to get access to life-saving medicines at costs that they deserve.
Yep.
Because they're all made here. Mr. President, you and your cabinet have been amazing. As a governor, I have found that the cooperation with every one of your cabinet members, and sir, yes, you, has been beyond compare that I could ever imagine. I want to thank you for helping us make Virginia great again, too. Thank you.
There it is. It's big.
So we have, at this moment, I think we just cracked $18 trillion in commitments and investments in our country. As an example, the last administration was far less than $1 trillion for 4 years. We're at plus $18 trillion for 8 months. There's never been anything like it in history, in any country, anywhere in the world. So that's great. But maybe for purposes of this, more importantly, we're going to bring drug prices down at numbers that nobody ever thought possible, Glenn. I think nobody ever even thought it was possible. So we're going to be doing a lot of business, but we're going to be also numbers that when you're 2, 3, 4, 500% less. I just noticed one of them over here, 654% discount. 654. The laggard is 98%, right? 9 is that what? Wow, 96, 230%, but 654, and we have some that top that by a lot. So it's really going to be incredible, and that's going to be so good for Medicaid and Medicare and everything. Frankly, for your life, it's going to be so good. So nobody ever thought they were going to see. And don't let Democrats take the credit, because they'll try. They'll say, "Oh, we worked so hard," and they didn't work hard. They did. They obstructed. They actually did the opposite. So that's really more important than even the tremendous investments being made in our country. But think of it: we cracked 18 trillion with a T, $trillion, and frankly, 1 trillion for 4 years wasn't that bad. He did less than $1 trillion, but we did that in a period of 8 months. So it's pretty record-shattering by many trillions of dollars. Any country, no matter what country you're talking about, nobody's done numbers like that. So thank you all for being here. Do you want to have a couple of questions? Yeah, please.
All right.
Mr. President, one on this, if I could, and one on China, if I may.
Okay.
First on this, could you have brought these pharmaceutical companies to the table without that 100% tariff that you imposed?
Well, it's not 100%. You're talking about China might be 100%.
No, I'm talking about the 100% you imposed on pharmaceuticals for that sector.
I would never have been able to bring them. Now, I'm not sure that Pascal would like to say, but behind the scenes he did say tariffs were a big reason he came here, and also the fact he loved Virginia. He liked this guy. He liked me. I think the November 5th election was a very important date. We had a good election, and that was important. But yeah, he's here. A lot of. I can speak for almost everybody that's here. Most of them are here because of tariffs, because you have to understand he has no tariffs. If you build in this country, there are no tariffs. So.
I want to ask you about China, if I could. Just want to confirm: have you canceled your meeting with President Xi? And
no, I haven't canceled, but I don't know that we're going to have it. But I'm going to be there regardless, so I would assume we might have it. But they hit the world with something that really is not anything that people are going to do, and it was shocking. I can tell you, Howard and I and Todd, we all Scott, we were all speaking about it before. And we said, where did that come from? It was that was out of the blue, right? Out of the blue, they came up with this whole import-export concept, and nobody knew anything about it. So.
If they roll back their export controls, the new announcement, would you roll back?
Look, we're going to have to see what happens. That's why I made it November 1st. We'll see what happens, yeah.
Mr. President,
Go ahead, please.
What else besides software could be on the table in terms of export controls?
A lot more. I mean, you have a lot more. We have airplanes. We have airplane parts. You remember that from last time. And we were just surprised at China. I have a very good relationship with President Xi, and they did that. This is not something that I, instigated. This was just a response to something that they did. And they didn't really aim it at us. They aimed it at the whole world. The whole world is subject to it. So I thought it was very, very bad. But we have many things, including a big thing is airplane. They have a lot of Boeing planes, and they need parts and lots of things like that. Steve?
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin to accept the Gaza deal, and what will be your message to the Knesset when you speak to them?
Well, he wanted it. It's been a long time. He's been fighting a long time. He's been fighting hard. He wanted it. It's a great deal for Israel, but it's a great deal for everybody, for Arabs, for Muslims, for everybody, for the world. And as you know, on Monday the hostages come back. They're getting them now. They're getting them now. They're in some pretty rough places under earth. They're in some pretty rough places where only a few people know where they are, in some cases. So they're getting them, and they're also getting the bodies, approximately 28 bodies. And some of those bodies are being unearthed right now as we speak. They're working on it right now as we speak. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. No, he was Very happy with it. And I can tell you that I saw Israel dancing in the streets, but they were dancing in Qatar and Saudi Arabia and UAE and many, many countries. I saw Egypt, they were dancing. I'll be going to Israel. I'll be speaking at the Knesset, I think, early on. And then I'm also going to Egypt. They were terrific. But all of the countries were great. Indonesia was great. Jordan was great. They were all great. Everybody wants this deal to happen.
What happens in Gaza the day after the hostage release?
Day after what?
The day after the hostage release, what happens there then?
Well, hopefully you're going to have great success I call it everlasting success. I think you will, too. I think you're going to have tremendous success, and Gaza is going to be rebuilt. And you have some very wealthy countries, as you know, over there. And it would take a small fraction of their wealth to do that, but and I think they want to do it. And we're also setting up, as you know, a board of peace. It's called the Board of Peace. I don't know if that's the final name, but the word peace is definitely in there. And they have asked me if I chair it. We'll make sure things go well.
And how confident are you that the ceasefire will hold?
I think it'll hold. Yeah, I think it'll hold. They're all tired of the fighting. Don't forget, you had October 7th, which was a horrible day, 1,200 people killed. But Hamas has lost 58,000 people. That's big retribution. That's big retribution. People understand that. So, no, I think they're all tired of fighting. And this really gives the whole Middle East, this is beyond Gaza. Gaza is very important, but this is beyond Gaza. This is peace in the Middle East. And it is a beautiful thing. You know, it's a term that you and I have been hearing since we were very young, right? And now we have a chance of really having that. And as you know, most of the countries have passed all these resolutions. Every country is there. Iran came in. I was very happy to see that. I was very honored that Iran came in. They said they support it. Russia came in. President Putin, he supports it fully, very fully. So I was happy to see even countries that weren't necessarily involved in the process, they all support it. I don't know of anybody that does it. And I've never seen happier people than many of these places, not just Israel. Many of these places, they're all dancing in the streets. I've never seen anything like it.
Mr. President,
Go ahead, please, in the back.
Thank you. What guarantees did you give Hamas to persuade them that Israel will restart the bombing campaign once the hostages have been exchanged?
What did I do with respect to them? Well, you know, I spoke a little bit tough, and that's what would happen. I mean, you have to speak tough. That's a tough world. That's a tough, as they say, neighborhood. And they're tough people. They're very tough people, and they're smart people. They're good negotiators. They have a lot of things going. They put that to good use. They're going to be very, very successful. But they knew the retribution would be tremendous, unsustainable. It would have been unsustainable. It would have been complete obliteration, and they didn't want that. And nobody wants it at this point. They want to get on with rebuilding the entire Middle East. It's not only Gaza. It's going to be the entire Middle East. They're going to be able to live in peace. Now we have some little hot spots, but they're very small. You know the ones I'm talking about. They're very small. They'll be very easy to put out. Those fires are going to be put out very quickly. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. President. Talking about the Middle East still, going to the phases that come after this first phase, is there a consensus on the additional points in your plan, or are the details still being fine-tuned?
I think there is consensus on most of it, and some of the details, like anything else, will be worked out, because you'll find out that when you're sitting in a beautiful room in Egypt, it's easy to work something out, but then sometimes it doesn't work from a practical standpoint. So certain little things, but for the most part, there's consensus, yes.
Do you intend to hash that out when you're in Egypt?
I might, yeah. I mean, I'll be there because I'll be going to, I'll go to Cairo. I think that's where we're going, as opposed to the place of the signing. And we have a lot of leaders from all over the world coming too. They've been invited. And then I'm coming back, I believe it's Tuesday night, for Charlie Kirk, a friend of mine, a friend of all of ours, a friend of a lot of the people right here. And we're giving him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is the highest honor you get outside of the Congressional Medal of Honor. One's military, one's civilian, but it's the greatest honor. And Erica's beautiful wife is going to be here, and a lot of people are going to be here. So, it's not easy for me to get back. It's it's a very quick trip, but I'll be making 2 major stops, and then I'll be on the plane trying to get back in time for Charlie. They're going to have a great celebration at the White House in the East Room of the White House.
Mr. President? Russell Vought said the reductions in force have begun related to this shutdown. How many layoffs have you authorized for this first round, and from which agencies?
And it'll be Democrat-oriented, because we figure, they started this thing, so they should be Democrat-oriented. It'll be a lot, and we'll announce the numbers over the next couple of days, but it'll be a lot of people, all because of the Democrats. I mean, they want to give $1.5 trillion to people that came into the country illegally. More important than that, because we all have a big heart. We want people to be taken care of, but we have 0 people coming in. You know that, Glenn, right? That's a pretty impressive number, even for a successful governor. But we've had, for the last 4 months, 0 people coming in illegally. They're coming in, but they're coming in legally. They're coming in through a process that's really a really good process right now, because we want people to come in, but they have to come in legally. So what we're doing is, as these different groups come due, we're going to make a determination. Do we want them or not? And I must tell you, a lot of them happen to be Democrat-oriented. These are people that the Democrats wanted, that in many cases were not appropriate. We fought them at the time, and it was ultimately signed in. And some of these people, these are largely people that the Democrats want. Many of them will be fired. Yes, please, behind.
The Nobel Peace Prize was announced this morning. Your thoughts?
Which one?
The Nobel Peace Prize. Your thoughts?
Look, including a very big one, and I'm not sure, when you say big, it's certainly, I think, to the mind of most, the most important deal ever made in terms of peace. But the one we just signed, it's been signed, sealed, and it's going to start taking place now. It's already started. Monday's going to be a very big day when the hostages come back. But I made 8 deals, transactions of wars. One was 31 years going on. 10 million people were killed. One was 34 years. One was 36, 37. One was 10. One was just starting. 2 were just starting, actually, but they were well on their way. In the case of India and Pakistan, 7 planes were shot down. It was a bad one. And I did it largely through trade. I mean, that one, numerous of them. I talked tariffs. I said, look, if you're going to do that, we're going to put very big tariffs on your country. And they were both great. They stopped fighting, and there were 2 nuclear powers. So, they're all big. They're every one of them big. You take a look at the Congo. You take a look at the Congo and Rwanda. 10 million people killed over a long period of time. Got that one solved. We did a total of 8 as of this. 2 days ago, I would have said 7, which I did say, but the other one was signed up, sealed. As you know, Israel signed it just now. They signed it and they approved it today, their parliament. And it's a great honor to be involved with so many. So the person who actually got the Nobel Prize called me and said, I'm accepting this in honor of you because you really deserved it. A very nice thing to do. I didn't say then give it to me, though. I think she might have. She was very nice. And I've been helping her along the way. They need a lot of help in Venezuela. It's a basic disaster. So, and you could also say it was given out for 24, and I was running for office in 24. All of the transactions that we did in terms of closing, but there are those that say we did so much that they should have done it, but I'm happy because I saved millions of lives, many millions of lives. And speaking of somebody that saves lives, don't ever play golf with him, because Keegan Bradley just walked in, one of the greatest golfers in the world, the captain of the Ryder Cup. And man, I'll tell you, you did a good job. You almost came back. I turned on, I said, I sort of turned off. It wasn't looking good. And then a little while later, I turned on. I said, you guys might make, that would have been the miracle. What a great job. He's respected by those golfers like nobody. And I just want to compliment you, Keegan. That was an incredible job. Right here, we have a lot of unfriendly fake news media. And he's not used to that. He's used to getting only good publicity, I think, Howard. These are all golfers. But you're some golfer, I'll tell you that, and some leader. Thank you very much. Great job. Thank you, Keegan.
Mr. President, on China.
Yeah, please.
On immigration, ICE are making arrests, target arrests at courthouses in New York City and around the country.
Criminals, arresting criminals, that's right. Yeah,
So
go
what's
ahead.
your reaction to that?
I'm happy about it. I want them to arrest criminals. And if you take a look at D.C., a year ago, D.C. was our great capital was a very unsafe place. You know that. Some of you were mugged and talk openly about it. Some of the media was mugged. But right now, D.C. is one of the safest places in the whole country. The restaurants are booming. They're opening up new restaurants. The restaurants are all closing. Now you can't get into a restaurant. They're opening up new restaurants. It took 12 days for us. We sent in not politically correct military. We sent them in based on merit. You know, we won the case in the Supreme Court. Everything now is based on merit. Our country was founded on things based on merit. Like Keegan Bradley's not going to be playing golf if he wasn't a great player. If he shoots lower scores, boy, there's no more merit system than that one, Keegan, right? If you miss a putt, they don't say, oh, that's okay, let's take it again, do they? No, it's based on merit. Everything's based on merit. And we're back to the merit system. And when they saw that military is all about merit. They're big, strong people that they're patriots too. And you take a look at D.C., and now we're in Memphis, and Memphis was really crime-ridden. It was terrible. A lot of people being killed. And they say in 12 days, they can't even believe how much better it is. And it'll take probably a month over there, and we're heading to Chicago because we want to save Chicago. Do you know they had over 4,000 people killed in Chicago over a short 4,000 people? And I have to watch this slob of a governor stand up and say that, well, everything's okay, we've got it under control. They had 4,000 people murdered over a very short period of time. There's not a city in the world, I don't believe, that can claim, you hear so much about different, I won't, embarrass anybody, like by saying Mexico City or by saying anywhere in Afghanistan. There's no place like that. And then I have to listen to the mayor who's got a 5% approval rate, maybe less. He's an incompetent man. And the governor's an incompetent guy. He's a guy that was thrown out of his family business like a dog. And I know his family very well. And now he's a governor. And when I watch him trying to say that it's okay, we have crime under control, I lost 4,000 people over a very short period of time. I believe it's like 7,000 people were shot but didn't die. But 4,000 people died. And then he gets up and talks about how it's not a problem. Or Portland, Oregon. I mean, every time I look at that place, the place is burning down. There's fires all over the place. When a store owner, there are very few of them left, but when a store owner rebuilds a store, they build it out of plywood, and they don't put up storefronts anymore. They just put wood up because they know it's going to be ripped down. And then I hear how wonderful it is. It's not wonderful. It's a disaster. That's almost an insurrection, that place. So we put our people in there, and they do the job, and they've really done the job. And the beautiful thing is we've done it. 12 days we had this place safe, and now it's, I would say within a month, it was beautiful. And it continues to be. That was 3 months ago. I'll tell you, D.C. now is one of the hottest places, just like this country. We were a dead country, and you've heard me say it 100 times. We were a dead country. King of Saudi Arabia said it. Others say, the Emir of Qatar said it. Many, UAE said it. The leader, great leader, UAE, all great leaders, they said effectively the same thing. 1 year ago, we had a dead country. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. I just want to thank everybody, and I want to, in particular, thank AstraZeneca. What a great company you have. What a company you've built. You've been there a long time and done some job. It's an honor to have you. I assume you're going to build, so it's $4.5 billion for a plant. That's a pretty big plant, isn't it? I was going to say, could he make it a little bit more? Well, we have a couple of them where they're going to spend $65 billion on one plant, AI. All I know is it's, AI is based on information. I hope they're right about information. I don't know. You got to make a lot of money there's got to be a lot of information out there, but that seems to be pretty hot. But we have a lot. We're leading the world on information on AI, as you know, by a lot. It's not even close. So we're doing a job. And I want to thank everybody, but in particular, Pascal, thank you very much. It's a great honor. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Have a good time.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Let's go. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you, press.
Thank you. Shut up.
Thank you, press. Let's go. Let's go.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before anybody here takes off, I really want to hammer home the key fundamental idea behind all of this Trump RX dynamic that we're watching here. We have the website trumprx.gov. So we heard them use this phrase, most favored nation status. Trump has negotiated, really it was by executive order very early on to his term, and he had to fight for this in the court system. The Supreme Court got involved and said, yeah, you actually can do this. The Supreme Court said, yeah, we're good. Trump, by executive order, supported by the Supreme Court, issued that now within the United States of America, all of these pharmaceutical companies, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, J&J, they need to sell pharmaceuticals at most favored nation status, whereas before they were not. What that means, effectively, to make this very simple, is that now these pharmaceutical companies, they are not even allowed to sell pharmaceuticals to Americans for more than they are selling them to foreigners in Europe or elsewhere. You can at most sell them for as much, but not more. As you all know, for a long time, they were selling pharmaceutical drugs to us for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times more because we didn't have these protections for the American consumers. Now we do. Now they are not allowed to price gouge us in the way that they have been. So what does this mean? What this means is that now the pharmaceutical companies, they are going to start charging foreigners, Europeans, primarily Europeans, more for drugs and Americans less. So before, a long time ago, before President Trump got in office and pushed this executive order, European price, American price, now you're going to have something like this, where European price goes up and American price goes down. We meet in the middle because now we are most favored nation status. And that really is probably the easiest way to explain this. Europe up, America down, we meet in the middle, and that's our new price. So we've been seeing the examples here with various medications. We might be paying half as much or only 20% as much as we were before. So huge, insane, drastic reductions in pharmaceuticals. If you're a European or someone living outside the US, it might get a little bit more expensive. But this is just the fact of the matter. Folks, I do want to say real quick, if you are new to the show, please make sure to subscribe and to like today's video on Rumble and on YouTube. Matt Morse TV here, Matt Morse TV there. Like the broadcast. Tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be doing something very special. For the last 2 weeks, every Saturday night, for the last 2 Saturdays, we have been doing live Portland, Oregon coverage outside of the ICE facility. We are going to do the same thing again tomorrow. Come back tomorrow evening. We also might have a Saturday morning broadcast here, so make sure to subscribe. But definitely Saturday evening tomorrow, we are going live on the streets of Portland again. There's something very ominous going on. You've seen these Antifa freaks on the internet talking about trying to use laser pointers to blast a DHS helicopter out of the sky. Tomorrow, it seems like there will be a coordinated domestic terror attack. All these Antifa people using high-powered laser pointers, shining them at this DHS helicopter, trying to blow it out of the air. You know, it's incredibly dangerous. So we're going to hope that they don't do that, but we're going to be here tomorrow covering everything that's going on. I do want to take a look at a couple super chats here before we wrap up. This is from Date100. This is a massive $80 super chat. Thank you very much. Says, we have taken care of ourselves for a hot minute while others have pressed hands just taking from us. But now the party's over. America will no longer pay your tab. Our time is nigh for America, for our people, for God, and for country, for America. I agree with you. America, we have been subsidizing the existence of people all over the world, either through NATO defense costs. We have been paying the huge majority of the NATO defense budget. Now that Trump is in the White House, that's changing a little bit. But one of the reasons why Europe, a lot of these European countries got to have all of these super nice, cushy social security systems, whatever, social safety nets, social programs, is because they didn't have to pay a defense budget. We here in America, the American taxpayers, we for decades now have been subsidizing European national defense, European continental defense. They didn't really have to do that. Okay, a lot of them, they only had to pay 2%. A lot of them weren't even doing that. We were always paying 3.5% or 4%. We were subsidizing Europe's defense. Time to pay up, pay for your own defense. So there's that. It's the pharmaceutical stuff that we've been talking about today as well. It's programs like USAID, which is now kaput, thank God. We were paying for all sorts of God knows what. Transgender health awareness classes in Madagascar. It's like, why am I paying for that? Why am I paying so a bunch of people in the Congo can learn how to be transgender? You know, stuff like baloney. So that's over. We are no longer subsidizing everybody's bullshit all over the world. You got to pay for yourself. The free, like you said, the free ride is over. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm with you. Thank you very much. Kat Fisher says, thank you, Matt, for providing your listeners with your America First Can I speak English? Sorry. Sorry. America First perspective, Kat Fisher. Thank you very much. Keep up the good work. This is the first YouTube channel where I've purchased a super chat. That really means a lot, Kat. I really appreciate that. That really hits home. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much. You know, I'm never saying, hey, you guys need to super chat. You got to do it. I'm never going to ask you guys to super chat or support financially with money. You never need to do that. Things are fine enough. But you know what? If you do, Kat, I really do appreciate that. It means a lot to me. I understand the way I look at this. Maybe it's a little bit weird. Your money here that you're supporting with, that's a function of your time. You're giving a little portion of your life. You had to go to work and make that money. You get the paycheck. You give some of that to me. I look at that as sort of a little portion of your time, of your life that you're choosing to support the show with. So I don't know, maybe that's a weird way to look at it, but that's kind of how I do anyway. So it means a lot. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. That does mean a lot. Thank you very much. Martin D. Turner, similarly, another big super chat. Thank you. He says, how's Idaho treating you and yours? We love it here. We loved it there. Maybe you moved on. We love it. We feel like we have stumbled upon paradise. There's that old poem. It's called Paradise Lost. Has anybody read that? Long, very, very old one. I feel like we have found paradise. I'm going to write my own poem about North Idaho called Paradise Found. We found it. We love it. The kids love it. We're happy. The dog loves it. The wife loves it. Everybody's very nice. You know, you guys, a little background. I have lived in Oregon, Western Oregon and Western Washington my entire life. I'm from the Portland, Oregon area. I have my entire life. I've only ever been surrounded by far left radical progressives. And so now for the first time in my life, I'm living in a place where people they're kind of more like me. They're like me. And man, I'll tell you what, it is the nicest thing ever to be surrounded by people that are kind of like you, that share your beliefs, they share your values, kind of similar culture, similar vibe. It's great. So it's first time ever I'm escaping the far left radical, hellscape. We're free. I'm free. So I appreciate that. Great question. Thank you very much. You guys really want to see the dog. I've done a pretty bad job at showing you Argos, my little German Shepherd puppy. If you want, I normally don't allow him here in the office, but if you guys really want to see the dog, I'll bring him in here. We're going to wrap up the show, but on the way out, I'll try. Now he's big, he's massive, so I can't pick him up like I used to and show you guys, but I'll bring the dog in here, okay? So you got to give me a minute though. Here, I need to step away just real quick, and then I'll bring him in. I don't know if I can get him to behave. He's kind of a spastic, but I will. Let me bring him in here. We'll see if we can get him up on the screen. One moment here. Oh, Argos, come here. Come here. Come here, buddy. Can you come up? Up. Come on. Come on, good boy. There you are, good boy. There he is. Oh, look, you don't even know, but you're famous right now. He's so excited. Uh-huh. Well, do you want to come back up here? I should have got some treats for him. I could give him some treats. But anyway, Argos is about, well, now he's 6 months. He's 6 months old. So he's in his puppy teenager phase. I'll tell you what, though. He's very cuddly. Can you come? Hey, come over here. Argos. Come here. Come on. Come on. People want to see you. You got to come up here for a minute. That's right. Everybody wants to say hi. Uh-huh. Hey. Hi. Good Lord. Did you see Hassan Piker? He's got this electric dog collar. He was zipping and zapping his dog. Bzz, bzz, bzz. Animal abuse. You know what? Let me go get a couple dog treats. Okay, I'll give you guys a little puppy show. Give me 1 second here, though, okay? Come on. You gotta wait a minute here. Well, how am I gonna do this? Can you come on up here? Hey, up here. Hey, come on. Up. There. Okay. I told you he's a little spastic. Come here. Hey, up. Up here. Come on. There you go. Oh, good boy. There. We've got some dried liver for him. Little dried, I think it's beef liver. And he's chewing on him. Anyway, folks, there's the puppy. There's the little cute puppy. Somebody said shock him. No, we're not going to shock the puppy. You want to come on up? Here. Up here. Come on. Up. Hey. Up. Yeah. There you go. There you go. I'll tell you what. Both his mom and his dad are just massive. We met his puppy parents when we picked him up from the breeder. His parents were just units, absolute beef units. And so, hey, up, come on, up. There you go. Up, there you go. So anyway, he's a big boy. He's just blowing up. He's going to be a big old strong boy. So, but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's going to be a wrap for the show. There was our special little puppy ending today. But now I think it's probably time to wrap it up. Everybody, have a great Friday. Have a great Friday night. I think we might be back tomorrow, Saturday morning. Definitely, we're going to be covering the Portland City Antifa stuff Saturday night. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. Come on back. If you love puppies, you need to like today's broadcast. And I'll see you folks tomorrow. Everybody on Rumble, thank you very much. You know, we have one more big Rumble super chat. Can you do a project of what government jobs will be lost with the government shutdown? You know, that's something I might be able to include in a YouTube video coming up here. Coin over on Rumble. Maybe I can include that. But hey, thank you very much. That might be some good information to get out there. I think I can cover that. Thank you very much, everybody. I am going to wrap it up. Thank you all very much. I'll see you folks tomorrow. Until then, everybody, God bless and stay safe. And as always, thank you very much for tuning into the show. Thank you.